Kunja Vihari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Bolo Shri Shri Radha Shama Sundara Krishna Bhagavan ki Jai Radha Bharanishwara Bhagavan ki Jai Radha Prabhuji, I don't know the deities there. Radha Kanaya Lal ki Jai, Kanaya Desh ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Manibhushan Prabhu, thank you so much. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you for joining with us, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, all devotees. We are a very interesting session today. We have very fortunate to have His Grace Tapan Mishra Das Prabhuji with us. I don't think Prabhuji need any introduction for Kanaya Desh devotees. Then there are some devotees from outside also. So Tapan Mishra Prabhuji is governing body, ISKCON governing body. He is serving as global officer for education as well as properties, and also he is zonal supervisor for Kanaya Desh and Iran, and he himself and his family is fully engaged in different activities with ISKCON. And today he will be presenting us a very important topic of the books are the basis. Everybody knows, each and every devotee of Prabhupada mission have to read Srila Prabhupada books. So it is very important part of our life. That's the reason Prabhuji specially selected this special seminar. Hope everybody will be benefited with this. On behalf of all Kanaya Desh devotees as well as Balram Desh devotees, all other devotees present here, we will welcome Prabhuji by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, you can proceed now.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Okay. So, books are the basis. This is a very common phrase that a lot of us have heard. We've often heard how purity is the force, preaching is the essence, books are the basis. I want to give a little background to everyone that why is it that we need to think about this topic and how is it that it is brought to the forefront of everybody's attention. So going back almost about 4 years ago, in the ISKCON Leadership Sangha, there was a survey done. And at that time, ISKCON Leadership Sangha was mostly by invitation for the senior leaders of ISKCON. At that point in time, during the survey, all the leaders who were present there were part of the movement for about 20, 25 plus years. They were asked a simple survey as to how many times have they read Srila Prabhupada's books. So question was raised with respect to Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. And some shocking statistics came out, unpleasantly shocking statistics. It was found that amongst the leaders, the total number of times that they read Bhagavad Gita was somewhere around 2.5 times in their lifetimes, 3 times broadly. Srimad Bhagavatam was about 1.2 times. And Chaitanya Charitamrita was something like 0.8 times. What does that indicate? That indicated that in the sample set that was present there, which is leadership, the top leadership of ISKCON, somewhere down the line, despite the fact that our founder Acharya, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, insisted so many times in his lectures, in his talks, that we should read his books, it seemed that we got so busy with the services that we lost track of the main path, which is to absorb ourselves in reading Srila Prabhupada's books. Almost about 4 years elapsed, and 2 years later, in 2017 actually, 2017, there's a Sangha in Mayapur called the Sangha of Gurus, GBCs and Sannyasis against the top leaders. This topic was presented, and at that point in time, I had some service for which I was part of that SGGS Sangha. And in that SGGS Sangha, the GBCs, the Sannyasis and the Gurus were asked what should be the priority of ISKCON as a movement. And in the priority, many topics came up, but then they were asked to vote. What should be the topmost? And it was felt by everybody assembled by a huge margin, that we need to reestablish our relationship with our founder Acharya, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, by the via medium of his living presence through his books. This was 2017. We had an SGGS Sangha, we had another ILS, we had another SGGS Sangha last year, and no specific progress was made. I also serve on the Organizational Development Committee, so I was witnessing all of this with a few other devotees. And around the December of 2018, I requested one of the devotees to come together with me and start thinking about what could we really do in this regard. So that's when I really started to focus on this particular project. What also happened in the meantime was that I also took up the service as the director for the Ministry of Education of ISKCON. And I was looking at what should be the scope, what should be the foundation of education within ISKCON. And from what I've read in Srila Prabhupada's books and Prabhupada's views about education, there was one thing Srila Prabhupada wanted. Whether it's primary education, secondary education, adult education, he wanted every curriculum that we design must have the foundation in the instructions that Srila Prabhupada has given us in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and his books, Chaitanya Charitamrita, etc. So I felt it was, I could somehow or the other, if I could inspire the ministry, its members, and if I could inspire the leadership to formally take this up, maybe it will make a small change. I also felt that it was very important for devotees to take this to heart and individually start practicing this concept that we must dedicate ourselves to the teachings of Srila Prabhupada. Now, with that background, I'll come fast forward to a few years. This year, in the annual general meetings, the GBC meetings, I made a proposal to the complete GBC body, which was unanimously voted in favor. And what I'm going to share with you now is essentially a full update on what we have in the project, what is the scope, what do we really want to achieve. Now, I'm not belaboring too much at this point in time on why we should be reading Srila Prabhupada's books. I'm hopeful that everybody here is convinced about that. What I will take up in the end as questions and possibly practice is, why is it that our practice of reading Srila Prabhupada's books becomes laxed? That we can keep for the question answer session. So I'm going to now share the screen and take you to the ministry website. I must remind you that when I embarked upon this project, we basically had nothing except the motivation that we want to bring this to the forefront of the consciousness and attention of the devotees within ISKCON. And what happened subsequently also I will share with you. So now first thing is, I would like to refer you to the ISKCON Ministry of Education website. It's called iskoneducation.org. And within the ISKCON Ministry of Education website, I would like to point out to you where you can get details of this project, which you're welcome to share individually with your family members, with your community members, and so on and so forth. But first, I want to confirm whether you are able to see the screen. If somebody can confirm that you're able to see the screen.
Yes, Prabhuji, Viplava 2020.
Excellent. And are you also able to simultaneously see me speak, or have I vanished into the...
No, you are in the minimized, in the bottom right, you are there.
Excellent. Okay. So now, Viplava 2020 is an international symposium which I organized for the second time for the ministry in Mayapur. And that's where I formally launched this project. If you like, you can go through this video at your own leisure, and I will not like to take everybody's time now, but it gives an overview of the launch of the project. In this symposium, over 100 educators from around the world of ISKCON, several sannyasis, etc., were present as well. And you can find more details about this in our newsletters, etc., that we send from the ministry. Now, essentially in this video, I gave you, but I also shared something about what we are trying to do. So here, I want to share with you what is the ambition we have in the project. In this project, our vision is that we want Srila Prabhupada's books are the most widely read spiritual books in the world. Now, some of you may be asking that, what is it? Is it something, is it an aspiration? Is it a fact? Are you talking about Bhagavad Gita? Whenever one puts a vision, one puts oneself few years ahead and visualizes what do we want to achieve. And as the vision of this project is that we want Srila Prabhupada's books are at a point in time, the most widely read spiritual books in the world. Call it spiritual, religious, whatever. This is what we want. Our philosophy is topmost. Our destination is topmost. And literature and the commentaries given by His Divine Grace is topmost. Therefore, these books must reach every single individual around the world. It should be the most widely read books. This is our vision. What is our mission, Prabhus and Matajis? Our mission is, first, charity begins at home. We want to significantly increase the regular readership of Srila Prabhupada's books amongst ISKCON devotees every day. So I'm not here to encourage you to say, please, you must read a few verses every week. Please do read Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam once every week. No, Prabhus and Matajis. If we are ISKCON devotees, if we come in the parampara of Srila Prabhupada, then we must every day read the words of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada says, I'm not different from these books. I am in my books. And every devotee who is doing this regularly every single day is a witness to the fact that they feel the presence of Srila Prabhupada in their personal lives. So our mission in this project, I repeat, if you're reading X amount in a week, we want you to read X amount every day. If you're reading X amount every day, we want you to read X times something every day. We want everybody to reach a point in their devotional lives where they're fully satisfied simply by hearing from Srila Prabhupada's books and chanting the holy name, which is supposed to be the aim of this life, where we feel full satisfaction in simply hearing and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And those devotees who have actually achieved the true satisfaction in just chanting the holy name, if you go and ask them and speak to them, Prabhu, Mataji, how is it that you feel satisfied in this simple endeavor of chanting the holy name? They will share with you that the background has been because they immerse themselves in the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, which arrive to us within our hands in the form of his divine books and his commentaries and purports and translations. That is our mission. How do we intend to do this? This project has many components to it. Now, everything which I presented in February is already underway. We've already undertaken this. So sometimes when you have voluntary projects within ISKCON, we have lofty ideas, we have aspirations, but they don't translate necessarily into actions. But we were very clear, I was very clear, that we will do whatever is necessary. We will beg every devotee, if we have to take this forward. So we said we will have for the devotees inspirational videos from leaders, from rank and file devotees, from devotees who actually read every, right? So all of you, if you're reading Srila Prabhupada's books every day, I encourage you to please submit your realizations to the ministry and to the team which is working on this project so that we can share with the rest of the world. We want to create networking. Now, at that point in time, for almost about a year and a half, I was thinking we need to have online reading clubs. And somehow the circumstances so happen that we now have, Prakriti forced us, Krishna allowed us to do it. But please bear in mind, these online reading clubs are not a replacement for the physical Sangha that is so absolutely necessary. There is immense potency when devotees, like-minded devotees who are dedicated to Srila Prabhupada's books, come together face to face with each other and read and hear. It can happen online also, but somehow there is this, when you're in the presence, sometimes there's a special feeling. That is already happening. So we wanted also as part of this project that devotees share their personal experiences, anecdotes, how the character got transformed by reading Srila Prabhupada's books. We are also preparing a training by Vaisheshika Prabhu, who have requested to help us in this area, where we're going to do a training on how to read, what should be one's mood, attitude. There will be also some techniques, but what should be one's proper mood and attitude when we approach Srila Prabhupada's books. So this training is currently being developed. We wanted to create a collaboration amongst various ministries, which is ongoing. And at that point in time, we wanted to approach the GBC body to embed in our calendar for ISKCON 1 week. We have a week for Kirtan week, so on and so forth. We have various dates allocated. And I wanted to beg the GBC body to dedicate 1 week where devotees will come together and focus. Devotees, leaders, communities, congregations will dedicate their time and attention on just simply reading Prabhupada's books. So what will happen? All the resources that we prepare for you shall be available for everyone on the internet and they can be utilized. The leaders, temple presidents, congregation leaders, GBC members, sannyasis, gurus, during that week will give talks, realizations, sharing with everyone how their lives have been changed by reading Prabhupada's books. They will physically address their communities. The seminars, they will give seminars encouraging others to read Prabhupada's books. They will create more reading clubs, online, off, on-site, so on and so forth. So more and more reading clubs will be created. Much like we have Bhakti Vrikshas, we have small reading groups. We want to have small reading groups where devotees who know each other. This Guyam Akhyati Prichati translates like this. It translates when devotees come together, they meditate on Prabhupada's books. If it's all right to have classes, but there's also a need for a smaller groups for devotees to come together, share their sanshayas, ask their sanshayas, share their realizations. So that's the study clubs that need to happen on each of Srila Prabhupada's books. And we wanted to propose certain dates where our book distributors, before they go on book marathon, get their own nourishment before they do so by reading Prabhupada's books. So this was the deliverables. Eventually, we also hope that much like we have Preaching is the Essence book, we also want to have a first-class inspirational book, much like the Sri Namamrita or Preaching is the Essence book, which will have it is meant to be an easy to read book. The aspiration from that book is that once anybody picks it up and by the time they finish, it should not be too voluminous, but it should be such that when you put it down, that very day, you want to pick up Srila Prabhupada's books and make it your life to read them every day. That's the aspiration. For this project, it will take us a couple of years, and Krishna willing, if more devotees come forward with their realizations and their intellectual capital, then we may be able to do this and deliver this for the world of ISKCON. Anyways, I don't want to go into the project development model. That's something we want to do. We do seek support from everyone, be it a devotee, be it anybody who has some influence, resources, temple presidents, congregation leaders, sannyasis, gurus, GBC members, to actually become part of this project. I also requested, what can you do? You can talk about it in your local communities. You can connect your own champions who read Prabhupada's books with us, with the ministry, and share whatever resources we're presenting or we're developing in the ministry with your community members, congregation members. And when you can do it as soon as possible. So with that, I want to now share with you what all do we have for you to serve you and your communities. I started off at the top by sharing with you that there's a brief presentation that I made. It's a video which you can share. After that is the presentation, slide presentation, which you can use in your own communities to share with everyone about the project, its scope, what we're trying to do. We have put together a very nice first-class research which takes Prabhupada's words one by one. You can go through it, and please give me a moment. I'm just trying to maximize this. These are all downloadable resources. Here, Hare Krishna, I guess somebody needs to. Okay, Madhav Shivna Prabhu, okay, fine, muted. Now, you can see here what we have for you is a very nicely compiled research in Srila Prabhupada's own words, highlighting the importance of reading his books every single day. It's downloadable for your own inspiration and for the inspiration of the devotees that you want to inspire. Okay, so this is available. Besides this, we have personally recorded various leaders and their realizations while they were visiting Sridham Mayapur. These realizations are presented by various sannyasis, various leaders, educators. We have over 50 to 60 such videos that are available. Most of them are English, some are also in Russian and few other languages. And we are seeking more of you to submit your own realizations, video realizations. And we want these to be available for all of you so that when you approach this project or you want to inspire devotees, you can share with them every week one realization from one of the leaders, requesting them to engage. As part of the ministry newsletter, from the current newsletter, which will be released tomorrow, I've requested the office also to include this once a as a permanent part of our communication with. So all of this is available for you as a resource. And please bear in mind, all of this has been prepared only in the past, actually, literally speaking, just 1.5 months. Because after that, we entered the lockdown period and our ability to record, etc., significantly reduced. In addition, we collaborated, we requested several devotees to participate in it. How do we participate? You can read Srila Prabhupada's books every day. Even if you don't have the physical book, you can do it on Veda base. You all are familiar with that. You can establish a reading group. And if you'd like to do that, how to do it, we have a tutorial on that. We have given here below for you some of the reading groups that we listed. If you have your own daily reading group, you can please mention that as well. And it can be published on the ministry website. We've given some here, and more are being established. As you know, during the coronavirus period, many were established. In addition, along with His Holiness Keshav Bharti Maharaj, we collaborated, and now we have, for the pleasure of all the devotees, the complete Bhagavad Gita reading from the preface, every single word, all the way till the end in English. It is present in our Learn section. You can click here and you can access this reading. They are typically about 1 hour each. Maharaj speaks for about 45 minutes. He reads in a very loving and nice way. And 10-15 minutes, he shares his realization. So if you're driving, some of us, devotees, they have very busy schedule. They're not able to read every day. You can simply hear. And Maharaj is reading one by one every single word of translation and purport of Bhagavad Gita. Moreover, you'll be all pleasantly surprised to know we also have now complete Srimad Bhagavatam, starting from the first word of Srimad Bhagavatam, all 12 cantos. They are done and available for everybody who is registered with us. You can access them and you can actually track your progress. So the learning management system, if you're doing Bhagavad Gita with us or Srimad Bhagavatam reading with us, it will stop where you left. You can come back and it will show your progress, that how far you've gone in the first canto, second canto, third canto, so on and so forth. So this is now available to all the devotees to benefit from. If in the future we have more readings in other languages, they will also become available. Now, the next that I like to share with you is by the blessings of the Vaishnavas and everybody's well wishes, the GBC body wholeheartedly and unanimously voted in favor of the resolution, whereby now formally it's an event in the GBC calendar and for ISKCON worldwide, where devotees will come together. That's our hope, using all our resources, etc. Everybody will come together and focus that 1 week exclusively in reading Srila Prabhupada's book. So the full resolution that was presented and voted upon is there in this section. I request you to please go through that. An introduction to the training which will be developed. It's a very nice video that we got done with Vaisheshika Prabhu, where he inspires everybody to read every day, and he also gives an overall scope of the training that will be produced. This year, this month will be in September. You can look at the exact details in our descriptions. So before that, we hope that this training will be ready so that if some of you want to conduct this training, this will be an online training. You can conduct it in your communities. In addition, along with our effort with Gauranga Prabhu and Rasika Raman Prabhu, we have prepared a guidebook for you, which goes through clearly how can we enhance this culture of reading Srila Prabhupada's books every day around the world. It touches upon the impediments, the difficulties we face, and it also offers some solutions of how to do it. It touches upon some case studies of few places where this is happening, Vaisheshika Prabhu's reading clubs, and some other efforts that are undertaken. So it's a very interesting document, which I believe will help one and all if you go through it. The next, we also have a presentation for you, which goes through how to establish your own study groups. What is the methodology? How do you establish these study groups? How do you conduct these study groups? What are some tips for the devotees who want to undertake it? So you can download it, go through it. You can do thematic study, you can do systematic study, so on and so forth. So there are several models that we have presented. We have given you what can be a typical duration. You can, of course, modify that based upon the time that may be available for devotees, so on and so forth. And so that methodology, besides the guidebook, there is a methodology. We are requesting devotees to take survey that after going through all of this, do you feel inspired to read Prabhupada's books every day? Do you feel more inspired and you actually want to read along with somebody and become part of a reading group? Or you feel so inspired that you actually want to do this every day or every few days in a week, and so on and so forth. In addition, we have also prepared some simple posters for you which you can download. You can just modify the text, put your own temple congregation name there, the timing of the reading club, the link for the reading club, and use these as resources to quickly circulate and establish. The Shravanam week this year will be from the 3rd to 9th of September. This was originally the thought, and it will still happen as part of the calendar. But around the month of March and April, the GBC executive chairman, the chairman of the GBC body, I was contacted by them and by Ramai Maharaj. And Ramai Maharaj asked me, he said that Tapan Mishra Das, why don't you go ahead and actually launch this, start it off, because we really need devotees to, this is the best time. So we started Srila Prabhupada's book reading marathon, which is going on now across many, many places in the world. It started on the 15th of April, and we said it will continue until the COVID-19 pandemic lockdown ends. So read every day, participate in online reading clubs, and conduct online seminars. So that is essentially what we're trying to do in books are the basis. Now you must be wondering, okay, Prabhu, nice to hear all of this. Is it practically happening? What are you doing yourself? So I undertook a personal vow as well that I'll read at least around 50 pages of Srila Prabhupada's books every single day. I took this vow, a firm vow, before this Gaur Purnima. And by the blessings of all the Vaishnavas, I'm able to at least do minimum that many pages. Besides this, besides one's own reading, I also spend about 2 hours, 1.5 hours to 2 hours every day in reading along with devotees. And many of you are part of this. As you know, that every single day in Kanaya Desh, we are reading about 2 hours of Srila Prabhupada's books. Our format is simple. Whatever time we give, half of that time, more than half of the time, we just read softly and nicely, whoever is leading the session. We read Srila Prabhupada's verses, we chant the verse, we read the translation, we read the purport, and then we move forward. After reading for about 3/4 of the time, then we give last 1/4 of the time for any discussions devotees may have, realizations they may have, and we take up questions. So until the lockdown was over, for this whole period of 3 months, we conducted this every single day. I was part of it personally every single day. And now we're setting a culture where the various yatras in Kanaya Desh, they will take responsibility. And the culture we want to set up is the following, that if we are a preacher, if we are a pracharak, then we must participate in this. Many a times we find ourselves in situations where differences come between devotees. And I learned this sutra. From His Honour Jayapataka Maharaj, from His Honour Bibi Govinda Maharaj, from our GBCs, and personal experience, that devotees who read together and chant together, they stay together. There's an old English saying, family which prays together and eats together stays together. Our mantra is the devotees and leaders and communities where, especially the management devotees or those who are engaged in preaching, if we come together, if we come to read together and chant together regularly, then we will stay together. Otherwise, it is only a matter of time where our mind will carry us away and we'll start having conflicts and disturbances. So that's what we are undertaking. And in our studies in the past 3 months plus, we started from the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, and we went all the way to the 10th canto and the 29th chapter. Just before the more esoteric pastimes begin, we went all the way until yesterday. And today we have now restarted our study from the preface of Srimad Bhagavatam, and we did the preface and introduction today. So that's how we hope and intend that the community will continue to participate. I also hope and pray, and it's part of our guidelines as zone supervisor. I've shared it with the various presidents of the various yatras, that every preacher must at least participate in the Friday morning Sangha of Srimad Bhagavatam. Everybody must come and participate. You will see, you will personally witness how life and consciousness will get transformed when we come together and discuss. And it's a very sweet discussion, these discussions on Srimad Bhagavatam. Not to be missed, not to be missed. Okay, so I have now taken the 45 minutes, which I intended to cover the project per se. The remaining 15 minutes, I'm at your service. If there is anything you like to share as a realization, something inspiring about reading Prabhupada's books, or in case if you have any question or comment, I'll gladly take that. Before I throw the floor open, I'm sitting right now in front of the TOVP and praying to the Lordship that it meets all of you in wonderful health. And I pray that Shri Radha Madhav, Ashtasakhi, the most glorious Panchatattva, Narsingdev, Prahlad Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, who are residing here in Sridham Mayapur, with all their potency and their pastimes, may always inspire us to remain the servant of the servant of the servant, to serve our authorities, spiritual and managerial, in a proper mood all the time, and that they always give us the right intelligence, that we're able to chant the glorious holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, so that we can develop little taste for this panacea of a medicine for this yuga. And as one devotee mentioned, it was Indra Prabhu mentioned, he said that if we can't cry while chanting the holy name, then we must at least cry with this heart that, oh Lord, please give us, when will that day come that we'll develop some taste for hearing and chanting? So I pause there and hope to hear with enthusiasm whatever the devotees who are present would like to share. My Danvats. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga.
Hare Krishna, Tapana Mishra Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavats.
Prabhu, thank you very much for the wonderful presentation, which I am sure all of us are inspired. Prabhu, request tell the available audios of which all the major books we have audios.
We have many books for which audios are available. Currently, in terms of narrations, many books are available. In terms of Srila Prabhupada's books, recording along with translation and purports, I've shared with you, to the best of my understanding and knowledge, is all that is there. Where systematically, Maharaj, we've gone through every single verse, the verse, translation, and the purport. So complete Bhagavad Gita. And we hope to also Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's a project we are undertaking support. And once that's done in the next 1.5 to 2 years, that will also be made available.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sudarshan Vasudev Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Tapan Prabhuji, Varadagopal Das again. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. It was an eye-opener for me because I am one of the poor readers. So, Hare Krishna, are you able to hear, Prabhu?
I am able to hear you. Yes.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. So, what I thought, I will arrange one class, Prabhuji. Please present this one to our Balram Desh devotees also. We want to encourage our devotees also. It's a very good initiative, and which is, you said, the books are the basis, what we are keep on hearing. But here is a method and philosophy how we can do that one. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. So I humbly request you again to present this one time to Balram Desh devotees. I will try to organize that one.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Please pray for us.
I want to share something inspirational with the devotees in Kanaya Desh who may not know. My association with Balram Desh began probably around 2007, 2006. And throughout these 14 years, because in my case, you know, I've lived in 3 countries in the GCC, UAE, Kuwait, and Oman in my practice of Krishna consciousness. Also, I have traveled and taken association in all the other countries and nations. Now, without giving out the name for Balram Desh, which all of you are familiar, in my humble estimation, I must tell you, one yatra which has almost always given maximum attention to reading Srila Prabhupada's books in terms of Shastric education programs right from the beginning, and currently has maximum participation, that's Balram Desh. And I was always so inspired, Prabhu. I was there over the weekend, I could see how many programs under the leadership of Vaishnavas like yourself were organized, focused on Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gita, different languages. So in many ways, the seed and the inspiration that I carried from Balram Desh devotees has fructified a little bit in the form of this project. And I'm very grateful, honestly, without any flattery. I'm not one of those who like to do so, but it's a fact. Balram Desh also have been the most modest and most humble. This is, what can I say? I can go on, but...
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for your appreciation words. Prabhuji, as you know, Gopijana Krishnadas Prabhu is the one who is coordinating all these Shastric studies and all. I request him to contact you and arrange this class for us.
He has been my shelter provider.
Hare Krishna.
When I visited in 2008 and 9 with my wife and small daughters,
you stayed in their house.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
I remember you took a Bhakti Vriksha for us also. Very nice class we had on Gita.
Dandvat.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandvat. I have to leave, Prabhuji, now.
Thank you for your association, Prabhu.
Thank you so much. I'm very blessed today having this class. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. So my dear Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, Prabhus and Matajis, if there's any other way or any other thoughts or inspirations you have on this topic of reading Prabhupada's books, please be so kind and share with us. You can ask your questions also openly, please. So there is one question from Prabhu, which asks that, is this meant only for Srila Prabhupada's books, or includes books by devotees, senior devotees, such as, Radhanath Maharaj and other devotees. So Prabhus and Matajis, in the beginning, because I gave a background, in the beginning, we are really focusing in the ministry to focus on reading Srila Prabhupada's books. In fact, if you approach any of our senior devotees who are publishing their own books, including His Holiness Bhakti Vikash Maharaj, who I happen to be a fallen disciple of, they always say, all of them say, first you must read Srila Prabhupada's books back to back. Back to back. I had the great fortune when I was just in university college. As a young boy, I got the opportunity to read Prabhupada's books, and that's made the difference. I was just about 19 years old, now I'm 42, which allowed me to, despite ups and downs of life, allowed me to stay in the movement and continue some service, and even make major decisions like, giving up my day job and all of that, and dedicate my life to serve this movement. All of them, their instruction is first read Prabhupada's books. So our focus now at this stage is to focus on embedding back the consciousness of reading Prabhupada's books as the main purpose. Eventually, as time progresses, then naturally other steps may follow. I hope that addresses that question. Thank you. It seems it does. Would anybody else like to ask any question or make a comment? I feel sort of, anxious when there is no question and no talk.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Dandadas Prabhu, thank you for this wonderful seminar on books at the basis.
Yes.
Prabhu, at least over the COVID period, what my observation is that we've been hearing a lot.
Yes.
Could you please suggest some practical advice on how to balance reading and hearing? And when hearing, I mean specifically hearing from Srila Prabhupada and his lectures.
My specific advice is the following.
Okay.
First, read or hear all of Srila Prabhupada's important books. So this is coming not in my capacity as a zonal supervisor for Kanaya, but in my capacity as the executive director for Ministry of Education of Worldwide ISKCON.
Yes,
Please, first, just read or hear Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Isha Upanishad, Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion, Narada Bhakti Stotra, Mukunda Mala Stotra. The books that our founder Acharya has given us, please make whatever adjustment you can in your life to read or hear them. If that can happen in the form of hearing, no problem. But in our previous discussions, I have shared with you what is the process of hearing also. What is process of submissive hearing?
Yes.
We must read, and we must, if you can't read yourself, nowadays, you can take your device. There are softwares where you can use a PDF file, etc., and make it read aloud for you.
Yes.
Like that. At a fast, slightly faster pace, slower pace, so that you can understand. But please do that. Please do that. So that is my foremost advice. See, we have to really understand where mercy flows from. I will say something now. Sometimes when all of us are speaking from Srila Prabhupada's books, knowingly or unknowingly, our internal consciousness tries to bring the audience towards us and not towards the divine grace, not towards his divine grace, Srila Prabhupada, or his words. What happens? A lot of times we take a class, we read like 5 minutes from Srila Prabhupada and speak for 45 minutes. Now I wonder, really? We couldn't use 40 minutes to just read what Srila Prabhupada compiled in his divine meditations? So I changed my way of doing these sessions. So if somebody is now going to ask me to do a Bhagavatam class, unless they put a danda on my head, I'm just going to read for the large part. And I'm quite happy. So this is a protection. So I've covered 2 points, Vishwa Kalyan Prabhu. One is answer to your question. Second is a supplement. As preachers, let's be protected by the words of Srila Prabhupada. And we'll be purified. If we take this approach, I guarantee we'll all will be purified. Is that okay, Prabhu?
Absolutely, bro. Very important.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
We can take one last comment and then we like to wrap up the session and proceed for another service. From our organizers, anything?
Hare Krishna, Namavadar Prabhu.